get on buses.
Can't go by schools.
In some states, let me tell you, in some states, sex offenders, they have no place to live, and the Department of Probation is referring them to live in a homeless shelter under a bridge. So,
Wow.
I'm not for sex offenders, but, there's got to be some equity somewhere along the line. And I hope that, the justice system begins to adjust to this inequity.
Yeah, well, there are strong rape trials. I don't think this is one of them. So say you, Joseph Scott Morgan.
Hey, yeah, my thought relative to this case, a couple of things. First off, I found it was very interesting that it seemed as though the jury did an about-face in this case when it came to the testimony of the victim in this case. They had a shot at going for 11 years, and the defendant wound up penalized essentially for having sex with a minor, and which is a misdemeanor count, I believe. And correct me if I'm wrong. As I previously stated, I am in no way a lawyer. But then his dealings with attempting to use an electronic device to lure this underage person into, a sexual relationship, that's kind of broadly stroked. And then it goes to the second point. My two colleagues here tonight have both mentioned this idea that the law is applied with very broad strokes when it comes to sex offender. And one of the things that comes to mind for most people when you hear the term sex offender, you think of some grizzled old man wearing an overcoat that flashes children, at a playground, or some low life like this. You're talking about a lot of kids that in some states, depending upon how the statutory rape laws fall, there might only be, 14 months of difference between their chronological ages, and because one was fell outside those parameters, they de facto become sex offenders. So they're lumped right in with this predatory class. Dwane had mentioned that certain of these people can be, treated. I don't know what they would be treated for. I guess normal biological function, relative to two young people engaging in physical contact with one another. And these people should not be lumped in with these predators who I am of the firm opinion, after working so many cases over my career that ended in death, I'm of the opinion that, the predators that are out there, they're truly, pederast, they cannot be helped or healed in any way. But, to take some teenager and lump them in with these people, it's beyond the pale as far as I'm concerned. And you're right, this is a classic scarlet letter. He's going to have to bear it for the rest of his life.
Totally insane. Okay, let's take a listen to the New York Kayak murder trial, and then we'll talk on the other
New
side.
Details in a bizarre case of a romantic boating trip gone horribly wrong. Did a young woman lose her fiancé in a tragic accident, or was it murder? We've obtained video for police interrogation that may help answer those questions.
911, where's your emergency?
My fiancé fell in the water. Can you please call anybody?
In this newly released 911 call, Angelica Graswell's voice sounds like a frantic call for help. But could it be a cold-blooded cover-up?
We are kayaking. My fiancé flipped over. He's in the water right now.
All right, stay on the phone with me, okay?
Police and prosecutors say the drowning of Graswell's fiancé, Vincent Villafor, was no accident. It was murder. She's been in jail on $9 million bond awaiting trial. But tonight, ABC News has obtained the interrogation video, which attorneys believe could help set her free.
I can't get to him. It's very windy and the waves are coming in, and I can't paddle to him.
She made a desperate call to 911 after a romantic kayaking trip with her fiancé in upstate New York turned tragic.
He's getting further and further away from me.
It was a warm April evening, but the river deceptively just 46 degrees, cold enough to kill, and it does.
The waves are very strong. I can see his. Don't see his head.
With no life jacket, no protective dry suit, her fiancé, Vincent Villafor, who had been drinking, sinks into the bone-chilling current.
Hold on, baby! Oh, my God.
And then Vincent Villafor disappears.
I can't see him anymore.
You don't see him?
No.
His body not resurfacing until weeks later. While he was still missing, Angelica spoke with a local TV station.
He was trying to figure out how to paddle the waves because they were getting crazy. And then I just saw him flip. I saw him struggling a little bit.
Police soon becoming suspicious of her. She didn't seem like the grief-stricken girlfriend on social media to authorities, changing her Facebook photo with the caption, "If only I could have paddled harder," and uploading the seemingly lighthearted video of her returning to the place where she met Villafor while he was still missing.
What a beautiful day. Arriving at Cornwall Yacht Club. Yeah.
She made statements that implicated herself in this crime, enough to certainly have reasonable cause.
After questioning her for nearly 12 hours, police arrest Graswell, charging her with second-degree murder, insisting she confess during the interrogation.
Did you want him gone?
Sometimes.
But in this interrogation video obtained by ABC News, Graswell continually denies killing her fiancé.
I didn't want to kill him or anything like that.
Cooped up overnight, stretching in various yoga poses, Graswell admits to police the relationship with Vincent did take a toll on her.
For sexual stuff.
Okay. He always wanted sex.
Yeah.
You do sexual things?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
He wanted threesomes, porn, everything.
Okay.
And I was not ready.
Angelica is 35. Vincent was 46. She says even though he was demanding and often jealous, she still wanted a life with him and considered his death a tragic accident.
I wanted to have kids with him, be married, and live happily ever after. He was driving me crazy for a long time. I didn't want to kill him or anything like that.
Did you want him gone? Isn't that what you said?
I do.
Okay.
I still want a kid with him and everything.
She eventually admits she may have tampered with Villafor's paddle and removed the drain plug on top of his kayak weeks earlier, but insists it wasn't part of a plot to kill him.
Why didn't you have that plug in there?
He didn't have it because I guess I had it.
At times, she expresses relief that he's dead, which police and prosecutors use to make their case against her.
Did you intentionally take that plug out because you wanted to set yourself free?
Could be.
When you watched him in the water, was a part of you saying, my worries are going away now? Were you almost euphoric that he was going to be gone?
There's no question she would have been much better off legally if she had said, not going to answer your questions, I want to talk to a lawyer.
A Latvian native, Angelica's lawyers say she still struggles with English and cultural differences. But even so, in the video, she never says she was trying to kill Villafor.
A confession would be her saying, I did it. I killed him. An incriminating statement is, I'm relieved that he's gone. Those are two very different things.
And experts tell ABC News a missing drain plug would not cause a kayak to sink even in rough water.
That she set out to kill him via drain plug, in my mind, is ridiculous. I don't see that as being plausible at all. If she wanted to kill him by kayak, all she would have had to have done is basically capsize his boat and paddle away.
Graswell, indicted for both murder and manslaughter, has been in jail since April. Defense attorneys say her defense will come down to common sense.
I think that we're getting more of a discovery, and now we can actually listen to the interrogation and see it. I think that curious, rational, intelligent people all come to the same conclusion, and that is that she's not guilty.
Those who know Graswell tell us they are shocked by the allegations.
She is a very sweet girl, as far as I've known. Very energetic, very happy-go-lucky. Just a really nice person.
It's this sunny personality in the days after the tragedy that Graswell's lawyers say have led to an unfair public trial.
They're trying to paint her as a murderer, when in fact she was just a fiancé who was very much in love, and now she's the victim of a tragedy. And we're trying to avoid her being the victim of a second tragedy.
All right, Dwane, Kate, defense attorney, let me start out with you. What's your opinion on this trial that should start next year sometime?
Well, you know, the interrogation is troublesome. I mean, anytime they do these 8, 10, 12-hour interrogations, I mean, after a while they break people down to the point where they want to get out of there so badly they'll say whatever that they know what they want them to say. They just say it so that, you know, and they're almost relieved when they say it. And you know, this is where false false confessions come from. Also, the drain plug thing is just stupid. The drain plug's on top of the boat.
Right.
You know,
right.
I've seen experts about this on TV about this case, kayak experts, that say, you know, you'd have to hold the boat underwater for like 15 minutes to get enough water in the drain hole to actually have any effect on how the boat handles. You know, and so, you know, it's just a crazy case, and it'll be really interesting to see how it all plays out in trial.
Alex Sanchez, New York defense attorney, so say you.
Well, I disagree with my pal Dwane. You know, this woman, for all intents and purposes, said everything but I tried to kill him. I mean, admitting she took the drain plug out of it. I know Dwane thinks that the drain plug issue, and some of the experts say the drain plug issue has no merit. It's not whether or not the drain plug could have sunk the boat. It's whether or not she thought it could have sunk the boat. And it sounds to me that she took that drain plug out because she thought that boat was going to sink. Now, maybe it didn't sink for that reason, but if she thought it was going to sink, that indicates that she had murder on her mind. Now, she said that she was happy, that she was euphoric, that somehow he was out of her life. I mean, she made all these independent statements which are highly suggestive of guilt. And then on top of that, when you look at her behavior on Facebook and you look at her behavior and the interviews afterwards, to me it's very suggestive of a person that is suffering from some type of psychological disturbance where they basically, do not interpret information and emotions and feelings the way most people would expect you to interpret feelings and emotions. In other words, I think she's got a mental disorder, this woman. And if I was sitting on this jury right now, I would be inclined to find this woman guilty. Now, Dwane is right about one thing for sure, and I agree with him. These police officers, I mean, to interrogate somebody for 12 hours, I mean, that's pretty egregious. And these officers, they take classes in interrogation. Oh, yeah, this is not like something you come in a room and just start asking a few questions. These people are experts, and they could extract information from people that you would not ordinarily expect people to reveal. But having that been said, it sure sounds to me like she made so many statements and had so much interest in seeing the demise of this guy that, for all intents and purposes, it was tantamount to murder.
Yeah, very interesting. Joseph Scott Morgan, what's your opinion on this case?
When I first began to run through the article, the link that you had sent me on this case, and I'd been keeping up with it kind of peripherally anyway, and I read a few other things. One of the first things that came to mind was a comment that Alex made last week: keep your mouth shut. And when it comes to interaction like this, the fact that she was in this room for 12 hours, and he's right. My colleagues in law enforcement do teach these classes. I've discussed them in college classes when I teach criminal investigation. Interrogation is part of the process. And I tell young college students too, who are all full of I'm trying to keep it clean, vim and vigor. When it comes to dealing with police officers, they'll get pulled over on the side of the road and they think they're going to metaphorically cross swords with a cop. And it's the worst thing that you can do. I mean, cops actually take courses in what's referred to as verbal judo. and they understand how to deal with people and how to manipulate you with words.